In northeastern Victoria, there was a quaint old narrow gauge line that was actually the Victorian Railway's first narrow gauge line. It stretched from the major regional hub of Wangaratta to the small town of Whitfield. In the line's first few decades, it was mainly operated by locomotives 1A and 2A, the 2NA class locomotives from American locomotive builder Baldwin. However, after these two locomotives were eventually, sadly, scrapped, Newport-built NA-class locomotives also operated this line. In this video, we're going to take a look at what's left of the alignment of the narrow gauge line from Wangaratta to Whitfield, as well as any relics, as well as take a look at the line's history. The journey on the line to Whitfield starts at the major regional hub of Wangaratta. This station was a major station on the main northeast line from Melbourne to Albury. In this photo, you can see that the narrow gauge line ran at ground level in front of the station building, with the yards being just south. This was done to allow easier transfer of goods between the narrow gauge and the broad gauge. You can see in this picture on the left is the narrow gauge, while in the foreground is the broad gauge line facing towards Melbourne. The narrow gauge alignment leaves southbound from Wangaratta and takes a westbound turn about 150 metres from the station. Sadly, none of the narrow gauge alignment in this area remains, as the Wangaratta station precinct has been rebuilt many times, completely obliterating any evidence of the narrow gauge line's existence. You can see here that the ground's been dug out in front of the station and completely the road's been tarmacked and everything. This is due to the standard gauge relaying of the northeastern line. After curving westbound away from the broad gauge line, the narrow gauge alignment winds its way through the suburbs of Wangaratta before reaching the first of many nameboard only stations situated next to road crossings, Tuggerah. Nothing is really left of Tuggerah, but you can sort of see where the line was. After Tuggerah, the alignment of the line has been clearly marked by a dirt path. This has preserved the alignment greatly and making this video way easier because you can clearly see where the alignment was. We passed through another nameboard only station, Laceby, before arriving at the first major station on the line, Oxley. Oxley had a small passing loop and a small shack for passengers to wait in. Oxley often had one or two NQR wagons waiting to be attached to the weekly goods train. The Oxley station site is marked by an open grass area with a clear flat area where the station once was. After Oxley, we continue next to the main road, passing through more nameboard-only stations, Skian, Docker and Brine. Skian's station sign has been re-erected, the first of many on this line. This is thanks to the railway's centenary celebrations in 1999, where many of the old nameboard stations and mileposts, as I'm showing here, were re-erected in commemoration of the railway. The line passed through more open, lush fields before arriving at the most major intermediate station on the line, Moyhu. Moyhu was the terminus of the line from 1952 onwards and had a large 3-road yard, as well as a station shelter. It was served for the butter factory in the town, which often loaded 1 or 2 refrigerated wagons full. Here's what the yard would have looked like and where the tracks were. Moyhu Station has been commemorated by a replica station sign, a plaque, and also a replica of NK1, which was a major identity in the area. It ran as a trolley service, delivering mail and taking passengers, only a few usually, on non-train days, which was 6 days a week. It carried mail and a couple of passengers as well as light goods, and it ran all the way from Wangaratta to Whitfield and back. It could easily be turned, and it didn't require runaround loops. It was actually nicknamed the Spirit of Salts, a send-up of the modern train at the time, the Spirit of Progress, which was the non-stop streamlined service that ran from Melbourne to Audrey. There's also this cool-looking mural with 6A and Moyhu on it, which is cool, I guess. After Moyhu, the line hops over the Boggy Creek on a small trestle bridge before passing another name-board-only station, Angleside. Angleside has also had its name board re-erected as part of the 1999 commemorations. After Angleside is another name board-only station, Claremont, which has been re-erected as well as the 165-mile post. Next was Dwyer, then the next major station, Easy. Easy had a small passing loop and was where the water tanks for both up and down trains on the line were situated. There were often a multitude of general goods waiting to be loaded onto both up and down trains at this station, although mainly up trains towards Wangaratta. Again, similar to a lot of other stations on the line, Edie's name board has been re-erected. After Edie, the line goes through Edie Cutting, which was a scenic section of the line. Nothing remains of it though that I can find. Continuing on from the cutting was Higham, another name board only station of course, and this one was actually located in front of the Whitfield Cemetery. Its station sign has also been re-erected. After Higham, the line continues a bit further to King Valley, which was a small station with a passing loop and a small shed for passengers to wait in. Surely, if all the other stations along this section have had their station signs re-erected, and a station as major as King Valley didn't, which is a bit weird, surely it's somewhere. I just can't find it, honestly. Continuing past King Valley, the line keeps going up to Jarrett. Along this section, the railway is more or less clearly there. The thing is, along most of the railway, it followed right next to the main Wangaratta to Whitfield road. So, going along that road, most of the time you can see at least faint remnants of the embankment that the line travelled on. But in some places, such as the start, as I said, the embankment's been preserved. Again, after King Valley, we have another, name board only station that's been re-erected, Jarrett, followed by another Peter or Piper. Piper, I don't know how to say it. Finally, a little further on from Peeper, we arrive into Whitfield, the terminus of the line. Whitfield was a simple terminus, having 3 roads and a semi-large station building. Past the station and yard were the engine sheds. This was a 2-road engine shed, and it actually still remains. It's been turned into some sort of motor oil shop thing. The station took over the main central part of the small town. You can see here on the diagram I've marked where the station building and the engine shed was. The engine shed, as I said, still remains. In the main town park, a replica shelter and station sign had been re-erected in commemoration of the railway. Besides that, virtually nothing remains of the once busy, well, not too busy actually. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest and say this here, the Wangaratta to Whitfield line was the worst of all the four narrow gauge lines, as it was a failure and it performed the worst. I'm just gonna say that out front. Some people may disagree, but that's basically what I think, and from all the historical evidence, that's what I think. Anyway, enough of my own opinion. This video is not about my opinion, so I should shut up. Anyway, the line was originally going to run all the way to Tolmy and potentially connect with another broad gauge line at Mansfield. However, since the line was such a failure, this never occurred. If it was extended to Mansfield, that would have made it the only narrow gauge line in the whole of Victoria that had a broad gauge connection at both ends. Anyway, thanks for watching my video on the lost Whitfield line. Stop stuttering. I need to stop stuttering, don't I? The lost Whitfield line. This is the fourth and final video of my 4-part narrow gauge lost alignment series, and I hope you enjoyed it. Chuck a comment, a like down below, so that will help get my channel views and get my videos out there, because I want to share my videos with a wide audience. Anyway, enough yattering from me. Hope you all have a good one, and see you soon.